like to invite Ms. Edwina Pereira to the stage to moderate the session. Ms. Edwina Pereira has a master's in nursing and medical law and ethics. She is now a consultant who facilitates programs on child safeguarding and public health. So we are, now I also call upon the panelists, Reverend Devajothi and Father Thomas Ninan, to come on stage. Come, Thomas, here. You sit here. Yes, you, no, Edwin, stay there. Now I also request Ms. Edwina Pereira to welcome the panelists with a plant. Yes, over to the moderator.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to all. Can you hear me? A post-lunch session is always going to be challenging, but I have had the opportunity to walk with Father Thomas Ninan as well as Reverend Devajothi through some decades of work that has been done on promoting inclusion in the National Council of Churches in India. So I know they are going to be making it very, very interesting. We start with Reverend D. Devajothi Kumar. He serves as the Program Executive for National Ecumenical Forum for Gender and Sexual Diversity in NCCI. NCCI is kind of the Protestant mainline church counterpart of CBCI. Okay? He represented the Ecumenical Disability Advocacy Network at the World Council of Churches Assembly in Germany in 2022. Dr. Kumar tutors on gender and sexual diversity for churches, theological institutions globally. He holds a doctorate in history of Christianity and has authored several articles on gender, sexuality, and Christianity. Over 20 years of theological teaching experience, Dr. Kumar advocates for inclusivity and justice within the faith community. Reverend Devajothi will be speaking on journey of churches on issues related to human sexuality, story of NCCI, National Council of Churches in India. Father Thomas, whom I call Achan, is Executive Secretary, Projects of Christian Service Agency, the service wing of National Council of Churches in India, with its admin office in Nagpur. He coordinates the projects of CSA. He's an ordained priest, as you already heard, with the Malankara Orthodox Syrian Church on deputation from the Diocese of Delhi. 17 years of ministerial experience engaging with issues related to alcoholism, human sexuality, gender diversity, healing ministries are his great contributions. He has been part of the WCC reference group on human sexuality for 4 years and presently a board member representing South and Central Asia of the Global Interfaith Network for All Sexes, Sexual Orientations, Gender Identities and Expression, and a fellow of the Salzburg Global LGBT Forum. Father Ninan will be speaking on theological, biblical, and ministerial perspectives on human sexuality. Okay, there was a time we never thought of theology and sexuality together. I hope that will keep us awake. You know, you will hear about it now. So we'll go that side because yes.
You can see your. How can you see?
Let me try. Oh, this is good.
Forward and then.
Okay, okay.
Right. One second.
Comes like this. Yeah.
Still the resolution.
It's coming up.
Something is cut off. Okay, fine. Will you leave it at that?
Okay, my another 5 minutes have already gone anyway. Oh, thank you, Edwina, for the introduction that you've given to me. Oh. Dear friends, I intend to call you as my friends, as I find the friendship is the ideal model, if at all we look for an inclusion, because the friendship does not have any discrimination or any differences shown. I also would like to thank the organizers, especially Father Victor Sahayam, for giving this ecumenical spirit, ecumenical not only in matters of the church or faith, but also gender and sexual diversity. So we are together with the true colors radiating here, expressing and living our own identities here. That's the beauty of this conference. Friends, I'm here to give brief idea about the journey of the National Council of Churches in India. As like you struggle, we also struggle on the same concern, because this is the concern which we cannot avoid anymore, because the world outside the compounds of the church are very open to accept the LGBTQIA community, and hence the church anymore can ignore. So it is really important concern that the church need to concentrate on. So the National Council of Churches in India, which is the Protestant body, federal body of having 35 member churches from this country, member churches like Orthodox, which includes Orthodox and Protestant churches. So it is also a very tough journey for us. Anyway, I would like to briefly highlight some of the initiatives that we have undertaken, and we have been successful in some areas, and we still struggle in some areas in confronting certain problems, addressing these issues very particularly with our churches. Right, so this is the voice of the National Council of Churches in India from 2001 to 2024. And this is the inclusive growth chart. Hopefully I will try to give this one where you can place yourself where you are. There are different zones are there. How we can become inclusive, that is the blue point. Yellow point is a growth zone, and green point is a learning zone, and then the blue point is another one where we call it a fear zone. I will give it this one to Father. Probably you can also look into it and
fix yourself where actually you are, honestly, when you look into this diagram. Friends, ever since this radical theologian, of course, Gustavo Tirio, a theology of liberation, we have seen the theological fraternity had redesigned or redefined the theological articulation, no more from the perspective of the vertical perspective, but we moved to horizontal understanding of theology, where we gave birth to several theological formations like Dalit theology, feminist theology, Adivasi theology, tribal theology, disability theology, and queer community theology. So these theologies try to see God from the pain and pathos of those vulnerable and marginalized community. National Council of Churches in India, this constitutes 35 member churches from this country, and each churches have their own standpoint of their faith. Each one have their own doctrinal stand. So bringing all of them together into one floor is a real task, and this is a very challenging for the National Council of Churches in India. And the National Council of Churches in India federates ministerial help to these churches whenever needed. So that is an important focus that we need to find it on. There are milestones that we had come across with regard to the gender and sexual diversity. Of course, I will explain you this picture probably at the close of my PPT, my presentation. The first, of course, we had the moment we began to understand this serious concern, we began to have a study institute, and we had 2 study institutes conducted, one in Ooty, another one in Bangalore, SCMI, and where we could able to come out with a kind of a document, an epistle on human sexuality to the churches in India. That is the first ever document that we could talk about human sexuality to our member churches. In 2009, of course, we could see the Delhi High Court struck down Article IPC 377 saying that they are not criminals. In 2009, the NCCI, a Theological Roundtable Conference held in Calcutta, where we could able to find out a message to the Indian Christian community. And this is a document that we could able to bring out. We will recognize that there are people with a different sexual orientation. We reject systemic and personal attitudes of homophobia and discrimination against sexual minorities. We consider the Delhi High Court verdict to decriminalize consensual sexual acts of adults to private as a positive step. So this document, when we gave this document, probably some of the members of our, there are council members who wanted to withdraw. There are churches who wanted to withdraw their membership from our association. Of course, with all this threat, the NCCA did not set back, but still pursued and tried to keep advocating the concerns related to the gender and sexuality. In 2012, a Bible study book was published as a sequel to the document, A Public and Sensual, Exploring Solutions, Bible Studies on Human Sexuality. It was there in the morning, but it is not there. I think somebody have taken it, and of course, if you could also share with others, that will be great. Some of the others to read it, it will be fine. It was published in 2012. In 2015, I think the Senate of Srinagar, which is the university in Calcutta, one of the Protestant universities started by William Carey. That is only one of the best universities in India, which produces theological students and who trains theological students for the churches across this country. So the NCCA could able to negotiate with them, and we were able to introduce a curriculum, human sexuality in BD level program. So that was another important milestone that we could able to see with regard to the intervening with the theological education. And ecumenical solidarity with HIV/AIDS was the program at the time we had, and which we felt we began to focus on the concerns related to gender and sexuality from 2015 till 2019. So, and the NCCA was able to produce this document. This is the first ever document which all 35 member churches have signed for this document, which is favoring and advocating the LGBTQIA rights in India. And the another important movement that we have initiated is we have to learn about the real concerns of the gender and sexual diverse community. Hence, we thought, the NCCA thought to initiate a forum, which is known as the National Ecumenical Forum for Gender and Sexual Diversity, where in which many of our friends are also helping us. Thank you for your contribution in shaping our thinking and how to carry our churches towards this concern. So this forum constitutes community members, church leaders, theologians, and well-wishers all come together, and we time to time interact and design policies, and we decide and discuss way forward for the ecumenical churches of the NCCA to go. That is the important activity of the forum. And not only that, we also thought of introducing certain modules. So this is the very important concern. We wanted to connect with the church. If at all we have to go to the church, we need to have a systemic training program. Hence, we created this module for churches and module youth. Of course, Edwina was the one who edited the program of the youth module. And we also have a theological educators module, which helps us to pedagogically train theological faculties to teach this course. So these are all the models which are still available, and those who need, we can also help in giving you. And then the other important activity that we undertook was we wanted to intervene with the theological institution, and it is a little difficult to change the present mind. It is very tough, and of course the future mind, otherwise the present theologians who are going to be the future leaders of the churches should be at least appropriately or correctly said about this concern. So we approached them, and all those affiliated institutes of the Senate of Serampur will take up this course, and those who find it very difficult, and they will call us, and we'll try to go and help them. Not only Senate of Serampur, even Martin Luther Christian University and Sam McGill Botham's University for Agricultural Science in Allahabad also have shown interest in adopting these courses, and we try to help them in teaching theological students on this concern. We find a tremendous impact, and we find a lot of response from them. And of course, certificate courses we offer, keep training the church members as well the students who wanted to study this course. It has created a lot of impact, and students started inviting trans members to the churches, and we began to participate in all the activities. One of the important problems the Christian face is coming out. Like community member finds it very difficult of coming out, and we also find it very difficult coming out and identifying with them, expressing our solidarity with them. So students nowadays, they all participate in the Pride event wherever it happens, and we also conduct a tour to different centers. One of the centers is the Kuvagam, one of the famous center for the trans community who come together. And you see there is a picture there where all dioceses and church heads are there, in expressing their solidarity with the community on Kuvagam site. And after that, this is the Pride March, wherever it happens, and we participate. You see some of us are there, and of course the General Secretary is the first ever General Secretary, I believe, participates in the Pride event from the National Council of Churches. Intervention with the churches, we keep interacting with them. Churches are going and conducting the worship and trying to help them. And we are the loud, proud ally at Chennai Pride, and of course all these churches which I have been showcasing here, different churches from our members, and they all started involving in this ministry. And this is the Salvation Army, one of the churches, member churches in our membership. And of course the council member, the regional councils we also have, like Tamil Nadu Christian Council, they also started taking up this work. Not only the NCC as a national body, even the regional councils also undertaking. This is the Kerala Council recently conducted these programs. We conduct Pride Interaction. Pride Interaction means every city there will be a Pride event. Before that Pride event, we invite church leaders and the community members to a floor where they keep interacting about what they are expecting from the churches and what the churches can contribute to them. This is something very innovative and very, very creating a lot of impact. And these are all certain conversations that we carry forward. We also still learning. We wanted to learn from others. So we started this webinar, Rainbows of Faith from around the globe, where we have invited friends from other countries to speak to us, and this is one of the person we invited from the UCC of Canada, Reverend Michael Blair, who spoke about certain affirmative actions the United Church of Canada has undertaken, which really inspires, and some of our friends also have been part of this global webinar. We still have a few more to go. Then again, transforming the lives of trans persons and the community members is also one of our program. So we keep changing the lives with our monetary support and help whichever way possible. These are all some of our publications, and of course we can still avail from us at request. And with the institutions, policy designing, we try to help. And of course we keep all the special days of the gender and diverse, sexual diverse, that marks the identity of them. We keep celebrating that. This is one of the program where we had it with the Vorinam, which was sponsored by the United Lutheran Churches in Chennai. I think our journey is not end. I think this story is very interesting. One person is J.W. Prakash from Kerala Council of Churches. He's a priest there, and he happened to walk, I'm finishing, he happened to walk in the Pride event at Kerala. And of course, all the pastors, the fellow pastors noticed that this fellow is showing some extraordinary relationship with them. So even they have branded him as a gay pastor and posted pictures and banners here and there, and went to complain to the bishop. And of course, I was told, and I also happened to meet that bishop, and that bishop said, J.W. Gladstone, I believe, is the former moderator of the Church of South India, when all of them went to the bishop and said, we must suspend this fellow, or you must dismiss him for identifying with the LGBT community who are not to be considered as a people at all. So the bishop said, no, if Jesus happened to be here, he would have walked in the Pride rally. So that was the powerful statement a leader could contribute, where he kept all their mouths closed. So my friends, the journey is not over, it continues. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Reverend Devajothi. You really highlighted how we accompany, how we learn, and also what kind of programs we can do from a theological perspective. Now let's hear more about theology from Achal.
Are we all awake? Yeah? Okay, so instead of beating around the bush, let me go directly to the slide around theology. Okay? Now these are different theological viewpoints where whatever theology, church theology, or street theology that we are part of, we will find ourselves in any one of these rejective, punitive position, which sort of believes that anything related to gender diversity or human sexuality, we don't want to talk about it. It's sinful. We take that position because God does not like us to be part of this. God punishes, that sort of stance. We may be in a position of rejective, non-punitive position, which we may have some information about who are the LGBT, and we accept them as human beings, but we don't necessarily agree that they are acceptable in society, So we still reject with whatever theology we have. A qualified acceptance of homosexuality is, to say that, okay, I accept you as someone who has this orientation, but please I don't agree with your actions, okay? That is sinful. So it's a qualified acceptance of homosexuality. A full acceptance position is when we accept the person as they are, as the creation of God. We accept that the person's sexual orientation is something natural, and we accept that person as they are. The last is coming from the Orthodox tradition, Trinitarian theology. We know what the Trinitarian theology is: Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Where this whole idea of perichoresis is, this from St. John's Gospel, where it says, Christ says, as the Father is in me and I in the Father, we are one. Okay? And there is a close, intimate relationship within the Holy Trinity. This is the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. They are three different persons, but one God. Right? That is perichoresis. But the Trinitarian theology goes one step ahead. As we are created in the image of God, as human beings, we carry the Trinity within us as individuals and as a community, as people. So what does that mean? That has its repercussions. If we closely believe in the Trinity, the perichoresis, the correlation, as the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit are one. You see, they are so intimately related. We as human beings, as a community, should reflect that as a community. To be able to see the image of God in each other, accept them, love them. And you see all the commandments that Christ gave falling in place. Love your neighbor as yourself. You see. Are we together? Simply put, this much theology is enough. So, I'll go to the next slide, which Reverend Devajothi mentioned. We are all in a journey towards inclusivity, irrespective of whatever theological positions we are in. You see, life, we journey with, our own crosses, our own, structures we may be part of in the family we are born, in the society we are born, in the cultural location we are born, in the church we are born. We have certain location. And you see, from those positions, we probably are in one of these zones of a fear zone where, we may have those feelings of, I deny about diversity in sexuality and gender. I avoid hard questions. I do not want to listen to someone who talk about their sexuality. A very closed position. I prefer to be in my own comfort zone. that's the fear zone, we call it. And as time goes by, we start talking to someone from a diverse identity, and we, slowly come to learn, oh, I've overcome my fear. There is a beautiful human being that I'm talking to. How wrong I was. You see, I understand my own sexuality and gender better. I seek out questions which are uncomfortable. I recognize that there are diversities in human sexuality and gender. I am vulnerable about my own bias and knowledge gaps. And most importantly, I listen to others who are of different sexuality and gender identity from me. We looked at Dr. Ramke's session in the morning. God created man and woman, right? But we saw that there is someone called intersex. Okay? So that's a different sex altogether, a different identity. No computer made it. God only created intersex. So that's a learning for us. It's a learning for us that human beings are created much more than what we have been understanding through the creation story in the Bible, right? So our challenge is to be able to correlate the realities around us to our own interpretations of the scripture and the theology we may have. All right? And it's from that learning zone we grow towards the growth zone, where we become advocates of the voiceless. We speak out about diversities in sexuality and gender. I don't let my mistakes deter me from being better. I understand that I have the ability to influence others to think differently. You see, so that's the growth zone. How much time? 5 minutes. All right. So, where do we start if we want to be an inclusive church? Well, these are some of the stories that you heard from NCCI. But most importantly, we need to listen and understand. We are used to preaching. Mission is beyond preaching. To sit quietly and listen. Listen to realities around us. Understand. Make ourselves accessible to difficult, painful stories around us. As you listen to some of the life stories in this conference, let's quietly listen and locate ourselves where we need to go. Getting our facts right about LGBT, accepting ourselves and others as God would. So what can the church do? Let's undo the damage we have been doing so far of misgendering, of not recognizing, not giving space. Let's undo those damages. Let's recognize the interconnection between sexuality, patriarchy, caste and class. These are structures we are part of. It's not easy to even recognize that we are, by birth we are part of such structures. But let's undo this. Interrogate our notions of morality. Reconceive theology outside of the logic of sin and salvation. All that we have been thinking of as sin and salvation. There is a theology of life that you will see on the streets when you go to the bylanes. Yeah? It's only by listening to those stories we get to locate ourselves. Listen and learn from the queer community. Embrace radical love as Jesus would. Radical love as Jesus would. Stand in solidarity and understand the spirituality of what it means to be an ally. Thank you.
Thank you. You do have actually 3 more minutes. Yeah. So, Reverend,
Take questions.
this is it seems so easy when you see it as a 15-minute, 12-minute presentation that was made. But behind it, NCCI had a huge journey of not only learning, but also interacting and listening to diverse experiences, life experiences, and of course praying for the intervention of the Holy Spirit in our own lives. Okay, in this little time that we've had, half an hour that we've had, you must be wondering if there's some bit that you do not agree with, or you may be having questions. Okay, if there are questions, can you now put it to the floor?
I have a rather radical question which came to my mind when I'm listening to things from morning, not specifically related to this. That I understand that we are trying to embrace everything that God has created as being beautiful. But the question that is still ringing in my head, which I wish to express it, is that would we accept transgenders in the religious sphere, as priests, nuns, pastors? Has anything like that happened in the Christian church?
Okay, we will answer that. Can we get 2 more questions and then we will answer? I didn't get your name.
I'm Lolita from Bombay.
Thank you, Lolita.
Sir, I have a question. So, beginning of your presentation, you have demonstrated different theological viewpoints. So, what do you think? Where does the church stand today? Which viewpoint the church is taking? Maybe different viewpoints are there. According to you, where does the church stand?
Which church?
Catholic Church or your church?
Okay. Didn't get your name.
Jasbin.
Thank you, Jasmine. One more question, if anyone has. Yes.
I sometimes wonder, I think it's a reality that in a religious life there are lesbians and gay couples, and some of them they go openly. But as Lolita asked the question that will we be ready to accept transgender as religious vocation? So is it possible in the near future? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So over to my speakers to answer the question.
One more question.
One more question. Oh, I didn't see that hand. Yeah. Start with your
Hello.
name.
This is Advocate Gargi Chikalkar. According to you all, where do you people see we transgenders? According to you all, where you people see us, on which level you people see all the transgenders? That's my question to you all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So,
Hello. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Transgender is an identity. You know, they are also human beings. They have a soul. They have a faith. They also wanted to go to heaven. Who am I to accept them? Who am I to reject them? That's a big question that I wanted to pose before this faith community. Who am I to accept? Well, you know, that is the problem with the inclusion model. The inclusion model, we always stand up and we put somebody down there and we say, okay, this is ours, you come. Probably, that's why I said a friendship would be an ideal model where there is no ups and downs and there is no hierarchy. There is no differences at all. Friend is a friend, you know, is equal. So, you know, our NCCI, National Council of Churches in India, perhaps with all our sensitization, and we were able to see some development happening with our churches in almost all dioceses. Now they have opened a trans desk in every diocese, Madras diocese of Madras, such as South India, and Thoothukudi, Trichy Tanjore diocese, and Salem, Coimbatore diocese. And almost all these dioceses have a separate desk for transgenders. Of course, in the Kuvaham festival also, you see all those diocese representatives were there to help trans communities. I've been there in Kuvaham festival almost for 3 times, and I noticed several of these Christian friends comes and helps them. So that is the one point that I would like to tell you. And there are so many Christian trans friends are here who also have their experiences. When they share their experiences, that you will know how they are welcomed by the churches or they are not welcomed by the churches, and what is our role. And of course, the theological fraternity, we have also had that achievement in our India. The Madras Theological Seminary and Tamil Nadu Theological Seminary are the 2 seminaries which have opened the gates for a trans person to get theologically trained. So the first trans person is the Bharati. Sister Bharati is the first trans person who had completed a Bachelor of Theology program, and again Bachelor of Divinity program from Tamil Nadu Theological College. And of course, the Bishop of Coimbatore Diocese wanted to ordain her. And of course, Bharati says, I want to serve to my community. I don't want it to be restricted to a parish. I want to go across. So, and she is ready for the ordinary ordination. Of course, we are trying to speak about that one. So this is my short explanation. The churches are now open enough to receive them and accept them. They realized they are also having a soul.
Where are churches in which theological positions they are? Well, in as far as the Indian scenario is concerned, we are yet to have any mainline church bring out an affirmative statement. Okay? An affirmative statement which is welcoming, which is on a solidarity. But having said that, there are churches in India which have made their own ways of engaging in ministry among transgenders, transgender community, safe spaces to listen to stories, to have such a conference. Those sort of learning scenario we find in many mainline churches. And so, you know, a few years from today, a few years before, anything related to LGBT, you will find churches coming out with a very strict, punitive statement. Okay, we don't agree. Today, times have changed as they hear stories within the church that there is something more that the church has not addressed. And so today churches are more silent rather than coming out with punitive statements. They recognize that there is a need to learn so much around this whole reality of human sexuality. So to your question, what sort of theological position does the church take? Church is not a single, organism per se. You will find within the church people who are punitive, leaders who are, at different levels of positions. And thankfully, we have people who are allies in every church, allies who would do their bit without making any show off, because life is at stake, human rights is at stake, dignity is at stake, and that is where those allies would do what is necessary to listen to a story, to be a healing hand and carry what needs to be done. So that's where the church is in India today. I'm sure we will be in a better position in a few years from now. Another question was about whether there are trans people in villages. Was that? Huh? Religious life. I think Reverend Devajothi addressed that. Yeah. I think we answered most of the questions. You see, among churches which have had a transgender ministry, they have been welcoming that and encouraging trans people to take up, roles within their church. But whether their particular church community will accept them, only time will tell. We are in a very infant stage as far as those questions are concerned. As churches grow, as we engage more, as people with diverse identities become part of the society, as spaces are given to them, I'm sure we'll be in a better space to see that tomorrow you will have an evangelist. By the way, there is trans evangelists who are on their own. Okay, Anjali is a wonderful trans evangelist doing a wonderful work in Andhra, Telangana. Now she's known in many places. Yeah, Rachna would tell more about Anjali. We have people whom you would listen to life stories now. We have someone like Dr. Inba, who has her own church in Red Hills in Chennai for the last 10 years. Doing amazing work, providing pastoral care where, a church pastor should have gone. She's already a pastor to them, providing shelter, home, providing livelihood, for so many. So those things have already started happening without the so-called umbrella of a mainline church or yeah.
I still remember at one time when one particular trans person required medical care. It was a church in South India that got together and offered their home and tended to her during that transition. Going back to what Jesus said, if Jesus was there today, I don't know who he's going to be with, is he going to be in the proper conforming church as such, or is he being in that open church that is welcoming? With these short words, I'd like to end this particular session and thank you all for your patience and understanding and participation. Thank you.
We thank Ms. Edwina Pereira, very efficient moderation of the session, and for the enlightening sharing of ideas by both Reverend Devajothi and Father Thomas Ninan. Thank you so much. Let's once again give them a big round of applause. Now the MC job will be taken over by Brother Justin, the third year theology student of Divine Bird Seminary.
Thank you, Father Matthew. So once again, good afternoon to all of you. Good afternoon. It gives me immense joy to welcome Reverend Father Sunny Richard, a priest of the Archdiocese of Bangalore. He's a parish priest of St. Anthony Church, spiritual director, St. Vincent de Paul and Religion of Mary, director at Family Welfare Center. So I request Father to come on the stage. His educational qualification, licentiate in marriage and family counseling, postgraduate degree in human rights. Right now is pursuing masters in moral theology. At the same time, I'm happy to invite Swikar Rainbow parents on the stage. Let's put our hands together. Welcome them. May I request for Sunny Richard to welcome them with the bouquets, the plants. Over to the moderator.
My dear friends, a very good afternoon to all of you. Parenting is a vocation, it's a calling. We need to have a different perspective to parenting. Not just religious as a occasion, not marriage as occasion. Parenting is also occasion today. It's a calling to the parents. Every child is a gift. Every child is a gift, and they're entrusted in the hands of our parents. And parenting is the most challenging task today. We have different kinds of parents: dually working couples, parents of specially abled, divorced parents, or single parents. So it's a challenging task. I'm so glad today we have a parent from Swikar Rainbow Parents, which supports the group for parents of LGBT plus community members. Well, they will be sharing with us more their experiences in dealing with parents and children. Experiences touch more than intellectual sharing. And today we have somebody to talk to us, talk directly to our hearts. So they would be addressing on issues in parenting and counseling. I've been told that they would give introduction about themselves, as I have just 2 lines about their own organizations. So over to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everybody. I would first like to thank Father Victor and Ruby Almeida for inviting us today here. It has been a very heartwarming session since morning, and it really makes me very happy that the churches are getting actively involved in the lives of our community children. This is really amazing. So, little introduction about myself. I am a proud mother of a gay son, and professionally, I work in the field of study abroad. American undergraduate students come to India to study about India, and I have been the director for India programs, and that has been instrumental in my journey with my son. And I would share a few things during my presentation, but I would just say that I'm very happy that I'm at this place. Thank you. My friend Shanto will introduce himself now.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Is it audible? Good afternoon. Yeah. So I am also a part of Swika the Rainbow Parents. In my opinion, we are the sidekicks. Our children are the superheroes. So we just support them, right? That's the least we can do as parents. So as proudly I say, I'm father of Tessa Bokshi and my daughter is bisexual.
Because of projector? All right. Okay. Thank you. I'm really sorry, the presentation has really beautiful rainbow colors. Can you hear me now? But the projector doesn't like my colors. So it's okay. I just want you all to know that we belong to a group which believes in happiness, and the colors of happiness are of a rainbow. So Swikar is a group of parents which is focusing on supporting parents. Why do parents need support? Because anything different demands more understanding. And when children come out, it is a journey by itself for the parents to really understand and then be happy with it. And it's not an easy process. So Swikar was formed just to support parents like that. There was a movie made by Sridhar Rangayan, which was Evening Shadows. And this movie is a story of a gay man coming out to his mother, and then the struggles that he faced in his own family. So to promote this film, Sridhar had a very innovative way that he gathered all the parents in Bombay and created this group Sweekar. And since then, the group has done a lot of work. So it was started for a small cause, but now it has become a very important activity for the community. When this idea of forming a group like this came up, there were already some activists which were working in the field. One of them was Harish Iyer, Alpana Dange, and Pallav Patankar. They all actually focused on really bringing in clarity about what would be this group doing. And with participation of parents, participation of these activists, the broader idea of our group was formed. It functioned in Bombay first, and now it is all over India. So the unique feature of Sweekar is it's a safe space for parents. Why do parents need safe space? They need safe space because they are scared. Their dreams are broken. And they really want to talk about it. And they want a space where they will not be judged. And they will be understood. And they will be brought to a place where meaning of true love would be shared with each other. And they help each other, that's the beauty. And these parents meet multiple times or communicate with each other on phone. They gather together, but make sure that their journey becomes a positive one. The second thing is, as we say, that it's a coming out journey for the child. It is a coming out journey for the parent as well. Because accepting that my child is different is something which is very, very hard for few people who have woven their dreams around their children. And when we weave dreams, though it is around our child, that child is a different individual, a universe in itself. So the dreams that a parent sees may not be fulfilled. And in case of the community children, yes, they are not going to be fulfilled. Because if you think about conventional marriage, having children, and leading a life where grandchildren would come, our country is yet to go there. So those dreams are going to be broken, and hence the parents really need support. The parents need support to embrace this different life that they are going to be facing. And when this group was formed, it came to light that so many parents are in grief. They are not able to look at it as part of life. They are thinking, why me? Why my family? What does this mean? What does my religion say about it? What does my neighbors will talk about it? What does my relatives would say to my child? There are 1,000 questions. And these questions are talked about and processed together in our group Sweekar. So our objective is total acceptance. Let me talk about acceptance a little bit. Some of the parents get really angry by the word acceptance. They are like, you gave birth to a child. What is this what are you talking about acceptance? The child came into this on the earth because you decided to give birth, and then how can you say that I do not accept? And yes, though this sounds very simple, human heart is involved in it. And the way we would accept or not accept multiple aspects of our life, sexuality of your own child becomes a point of question. So it was, our mission was to create a comfortable space where the parent would himself understand that there is no reason to think the way you are thinking. Okay? Then, if you all want, or you know any families who want to connect to Srikar, then our Facebook and Instagram handles have a link to a Google form where some information is requested. Our senior members and founders of Srikar, they communicate with the person who has filled up the form, get consent, and then the person is added in a WhatsApp group. We are a community that works on Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. All the information about Srikar is essentially on all these platforms, and once you get introduced to Srikar group, then you start learning by interaction. So Srikar does multiple things. They participate in conferences, they take workshops, and a major part that they do is counseling parents. That is one of the major aspects, which is a very long process. The first meeting can last up to 2 hours. And we parents who volunteer to do that are willing to put in that time for other parents. So there are different activities like this transgender vaccination. Then we would participate in diversity, equity and inclusion workshops that happen. And we work also with the government to make sure that the applicable schemes are available to the community children. Srikar is very big on Pride Parades. We participate and we make sure that any person who's interested will walk with us. We walk with our children and we make sure that other people understand what we are trying to do. We have very heartwarming experiences, like this gentleman who says that I support my gay son. He is elderly, but he's right there with us to support the child. And I would share a couple of stories about our counseling experiences, maybe as part of our question and answer time. Thank you.
Thank you, Uttara, for enlightening us on the ministries of the Srikar Association. I now invite Santosh to share his experience.
Hello. No, I'm not used to it. Hello. So, like Uttara, I am also a proud parent and member of Srikar. So, I can share one story about my own daughter. So, when she came out to us, for her surprise, we were not surprised. We accepted her very easily, in a very boring manner. So many times my daughter, in a very joking manner, complained that there was no drama in my coming out story. No struggle, nobody cried. I mean, when she said that I'm bisexual, I said, very good, but your homework is done for tomorrow. So, but I always pray. I have taken part in a lot of seminars online and in person also. They're only sad stories. I want all the coming out stories is as boring as Tessa Bokshis. So I just want all the parents to understand that the moment you realize that your child is not normal according to your understanding, your journey of learning starts. So that's the only message I have. And thank you for this opportunity. On behalf of Speaker, we oblige.
Thank you, Mr. Santosh. That was a great positive outlook towards children. And that's the outlook, attitude that all of us need to carry towards children. All right, without wasting much of your time, we straight away go to the question and answer sessions.
So thank you for openly sharing your stories. It was first time for me to listen to you. So my question is, in case mother is ready to accept, but father is finding difficult. At the other time, same vice versa. Father is ready to accept. So in that case, what is your response?
Okay, we'll reserve the question. We'll reserve the answer. Your name, brother? Justin. Okay.
I have a question too.
Okay. There are more questions from brothers today.
I'm very happy to listen from you. My question is that I have always idea of that by educating we can eradicate many of our beliefs. So, from your present, I understood that parents are coming to you and you are clarifying their doubts. And there are many parents who don't come out. So, are there any programs happening to educate them? And my another question is, so there are policies, there are norms, rules from the government dealing with the abortion, divorce. It's a family matters. Still, the government intervenes and have the laws and norms. Are there any norms and laws dealing with these kind of situations in our families?
Hi, my question is for Santosh. You just shared that when your daughter shared about her preferences, and for you it was like boring, okay. What about when she shared the surrounding, the people, how they reacted, and how you as a parent, for both of you, dealt with normal public or in your neighborhood and community? That is one thing. Second thing, nowadays we all know even Ministry after the Badlapur case and the Kolkata case, Ministry have come up with that sex education is mandatory in school. I feel because even we are having a lot of modules we are implementing in school. So if you can share some material, so even we can incorporate in our value education program or sex education, even gender we are doing. Okay, but you know how we do the gender and sexuality. But definitely we wanted to have some module which has come up, and we should have uniformity across India. Even when we talk about our religion, I think we should have, we speak one language, and I think then it is easy to make understand people. So you can share.
We'll reserve the questions. I welcome the panelists to give the answers. I understand there are a few more questions to take up. Okay, we will try answering these questions which have come up.
Hello. My question is to both of you that
We'll finish some of these questions which have come up. We'll come to you. We'll come to you.
Can I take the questions?
Okay, the first one is, what if father has said, mother has said?
Yeah. So the question about father accepting, either of the parents, father or mother accepting and the other one is resisting, talking to that parents together is the first step. What we have found out is, in such a situation, the most common factor that we observe is fear of being judged by the community around. And when we say that if you accept and if you support your child, then only these fears will disappear. So talking to these people is the best way to go forward. And it works. Yeah. So educating parents is the way right now it is done is we have Swikar groups spread all over India, and we would have our own meetings where we would come and share each other's experiences, and we would have discussions on what can be the best way out. I would definitely want to share that when a parent is grief-stricken because of this new information, we have to assure the parent that this is not the end of the world. Your actual process of accepting the child is going to create a different but beautiful world for you. And then it works. But it's a long process. It cannot be done in 1 hour or 2 hours. Multiple times we have to meet multiple times and sit together. Sometimes there is a lot of emotions flowing out of here, their eyes, lot of crying, and we have to just say that it's okay. It's okay, we are dealing with it. So it's one-on-one right now. Going to a course and learning about it and implementing it doesn't work here because your heart is involved there.
Hello. So to answer your question, how we have dealt with the society. First of all, it's Shagota, Shanto and Tessa. So it's 3 against the world. So first of all, we are united. So that's the first base we decided. And then we decided that the neighbors, the relatives, the schoolmates, the colleagues, they enjoy this, what can I say, sarcastic feeling that they will ask us tricky questions. That what are you thinking about your child and things like that. So we decide we will do counter bully. We will not wait for their questions. Me and Sabata, we start telling all our people, you know, so proud we are, our daughter is bisexual. So we took the advantage away from them. So we start telling people that our daughter is bisexual, and both me and Shagota in all our social media handles, we promoted all of Tessa's interviews, and we give interviews together also. So we take away the initiative from them. So they want to thrive or play upon our guilt. So we took the guilt, and even one of my colleagues said to me that you should take your child to a psychiatrist because this is a disease, it can be cured. So I said, my daughter is 100% sure. The problem is with people like you and me. We have never declared. I don't know about you, but for me, whenever I see Mr. Kevin Costner on screen, my heart also swings. Yes.
Yeah. Very quickly, I would like to share an experience of a young man who is gay, and his parents wanted him to marry. And he messaged me a long message saying that I need help. And that day he came to my office with his parents. And the only difficulty that the mother had was when we die, who will look after him? So I was like, he will look after himself. And then that mother she was crying. And I said, you know him best. So whatever he doesn't know, please teach him. खाना बनाना नहीं आता, बनाओ. कपड़े fold करना नहीं आता, करने को बोलो. You know, so it is all these small things, our fears that come in between. So if we are honest and say that this is my fear, your child will give you the answer for that. Your child will say, don't worry mom, I'll chill, I'll be alright. You know, this is the answer you might get. So I just wanted to share this with you.
Few more questions very quickly. Please be very brief.
I have question to both of you that you both are proud that you are having your daughter and your son as a gay and as a bisexual. What if both of your son's partner who is there, if he would have been from the community, LGBTQ community, so would you have accepted that person as a trans? And the same question to you too, if your daughter would have been straight and if her partner would have been gay or he would have been a trans man, so would you have accepted it?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, from here. From heart, yes.
One word.
But in general, we don't see that people accept it.
I mean, I am unfortunate that that is not going to happen in this case. Otherwise, I would have loved to prove you right.
Thank you so much.
I really like this question because when one of my relatives asked me this, that what about his partner? So I said, 2 men will look after me. I don't have any problem. I'm going to be the queen of the house. Yeah.
All right, we end it here. How many parents are here in the group? Less than 10. Less than 10. And most of us are religious and from different groups. We all have a message to carry, that there is a support group to help parents. Secondly, I would end with the words of Steve Harvey. Anybody can be a father, but it takes a special man to be a dad. Thank you. A big hand to all the panelists here. Thank you. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Once again, thank you, Father Sunny, for skillfully moderating the session, and also our dear parents for sharing your stories and answering all our questions. Thank you so much. Let's give them a big round of applause. Now we shall move for tea. Please kindly back to this hall, 4:30, sharp 4:30. Thank you.